And that's what remains of, I guess, still functional track looking back towards Wilmington. And this is basically where the functioning track ends, and up there is the scene of the famous accident. So Monty and I were watching a video the other night, and they were telling ghost stories about Brunswick County, North Carolina. And it was talking about the Maco Light, the legend of the Maco Light. And the video went on to describe what happened and where, and she said, "Is that nearby?" I said, "Yeah, it's not very far away at all. You want to go look at it?" So we took a drive over there today. And here's what we found. Now, if you're not familiar with the whole history thing, Maco is a community, not a town. It's in Brunswick County, kind of the northeast portion of the county, outside of Wilmington. And there's a rail line there that was there, called the Wilmington and Manchester Railroad. And it actually went from Manchester, South Carolina, maybe even close to Augusta, Georgia, all the way to Wilmington. It brought cotton and other goods to market, essentially to the port there, so they could be exported. And this goes back to the 1850s, when the railroad was created and became viable. In 1867, there was a train. I'm not sure whether it was headed towards Wilmington or away from Wilmington. I've seen reports indicating both directions. But anyway, a fellow by the name of Joe Baldwin was in the last car, probably the caboose, when and this was a rainy, dark night, and he was awakened by a surprising jolt, and realized his car was slowing down, and because it had become unhooked from the rest of the train. But Joe knew that there was another train coming behind them. And as the train slowed down, he ran to the back of the car, and he took a lantern out, and he's waving it, trying to alert the engineer of the train coming up behind him that he was slow, and basically stopped on the tracks ahead. In any case, though the following train may have seen him, put on the brakes, a couple ammo smashes into the rail car that Joe's in, killing him. And ultimately, they found his body the next morning in a swamp without his head. Not long after that, locals began to notice lights. And what they described was a light swinging on the tracks. A single light, white light. And the way the legend has it, it was the ghost of Joe coming back looking for his missing head. But it was such an issue, so many people had seen it over the years, that the railroad actually changed their procedures, and instead of using a single light to mark a train stopping at the Maco station, they would use a double light, and it would be a green and a red light. To the point where President Grover Cleveland was on a campaign trail, and his train was stopped in Maco in 1889. He asked about the lights and about why they used double lights, and he was told the story of Joe Baldwin, and this legend actually got a national audience at that point, because President Cleveland loved to tell the story over and over again after that. So this whole ghost story is not only one of North Carolina's famous, but it has a national awareness. According to a lot of people have searched this out. Lots of people can tell stories, individuals that have anecdotal experience with seeing the light, sometimes in the distance where they tried to go after it and it proceeded away from. A few times where persons were sitting near the tracks in a car, and the lights came right at them, and they got the heck out of there because it scared them so bad. When the rail lines in the 1970s, the tracks were actually taken up in that area, and the sighting stopped. Despite explanation by scientists and ghost hunters and clairvoyants and all of that. Um, it's never been known, but a lot of people saw a lot of stuff over the years, but nobody's seen anything since 1977. We didn't see much today when we went either, but we did visit the places and we know that they do exist. So the legend has a basis in a real geographic point. Take a look.
So, as I said, we really didn't see anything. We started out in the Maco community where letter A is, and supposedly the accident occurred in the area of Rattlesnake Creek, the bridge over Rattlesnake Swamp Creek, whatever it is. Going through Old Maco, we found Old 74, Highway 74. It's the highway out of Wilmington going towards the west. And and there's nothing there. And there's just it's just a community. So there's no evidence of the railroad whatsoever. Heading eastbound, leaving the Maco community, heading towards Wilmington on Highway 74, you turn onto a small side road, and there is actually something there. There's evidence of an old railroad bed. You can sort of make it out if you have great imagination. You can see it on both sides of the road. But there's no swamp. There's definitely no Joe Baldwin, no missing head. And if you use your imagination, you might be able to see something here. And if this was a lover's lane where people used to park late at night, I could see where if they saw a light, it might give them a good spook, maybe a good scare. So headed further east down Highway 74, we turned into another dirt road. And this time we really didn't see much evidence of anything. It's all very wooded. But there is a parallel dirt road that's used as a driveway by the locals. Google suggested that we actually drive down it a ways, but I think that's probably not such a good idea as it is posted by the local residents to keep out. In the end, we saw no Joe Baldwin, no missing head, and very little evidence of a railroad. Maybe you'll find something different when you go to visit. Remember to like and subscribe. We love y'all.